growing up in a rough or rundown or just not appropriate neighborhood shouldn't dictate what you do or how your future looks. Growing up in a rough or rundown neighborhood should only motivate you to become a better version of yourself. A lot of people have the speculation that you are a product of your environment. To me, that is a complete lie. I do not believe that. I believe that you are a project of what you make yourself to be. You can grow up in the roughest side of town, in the poorest side of town, in the most dangerous side of town, and still become one of the most successful, influential people you have ever met in your whole entire life. To me, all I think is that you can create your future, create your outcome, and create how successful you are in life. For me, growing up in a rough neighborhood was tough. When I first got here, I moved from Anaheim, California, to Queen Creek, Arizona, in the neighborhood where I grew up. I was very blind and very not open-eyed about the neighborhood that I used to live in. I was only 8 years old. I was a little Luis. But now that I'm grown up, now that I see what kind of neighborhood this really was, I think to myself, how did I get sheltered from all this? How did I not get caught up in this mess? 2 houses down from me, 1 house down from me, 1 house across from me, drug dealers. 3 streets back from me, every single night somebody would get either, beat up or something terrible would happen. 4 streets down from me at this little house, somebody got shot in the face with a shotgun over glasses. It's something that only you can change, and only you can bring out, and really you dictate the success or the accomplishments that you have in your life. There is no reason for you to sit here and say, I was brought up in a rough neighborhood, I have no chance, I have no motivation to do anything. All I know is drugs, or all I know is violence, or all I know is doing bad things. That's a negative, man. That is a negative. There's a lot of people, and not just myself, there's a lot of people that choose not to go that path. There's a lot of people that choose to go the opposite way and say, I'm gonna make a change for myself, for my family. I will not grow up in this environment. This is not who I want to be. For me, it was through music. You guys know I absolutely love music. Music, I can easily say, saved my life. Growing up, I did music since I was 9 years old, picked up the bass, that's what I did. I went all through high school, through middle school, through college. Proud alum of the Arizona State Sun Devil Marching Band. And for me, that was a turning point in my life. And basically in everything that I've ever done, you just change yourself. You change the way you look at life, and you change the way you look at whatever's going on around you. Again, you are a product of what you make yourself to be. I could have easily joined a gang. I could have easily did drugs. I could have easily got into violence. I had access to all of that. The people I hung around with had access to all of that. But I decided not to go that way. I decided to go the way of music and education. Now, at 23 years old, I've overcome, the stereotype, you are a product of your environment, and became a teacher. I teach special need kids. I teach, music. I teach, my passion is teaching and teaching kids. That's how you shy away from and that's what kept me away from all the bad stuff, all the negative stuff. I owe a huge part of who I am today to my parents. And that's another point I want to talk about. Your leadership and the people you look up to should want to take you out of that place, and should want to take you out of that mentality of, I don't want to end up like my neighbor. I don't want to end up slinging drugs. I don't want to end up cooking drugs. I want to be successful in life, and I want to do something that's going to make an impact on somebody. My parents used to always say, hey, you need to do what you want to do, but make sure that it's something good. For example, I wanted to play football. Football was my passion. Freshman year, went into the music room and told my music teacher, which is now one of my biggest influences, said, hey man, I am no longer going to do music. I'm going to go play football, and I'm going to go, to the NFL and this and that. He said, give me 1 year of music and you can have the rest of the years of football. And I said, I guess that's a deal. And that was the best decision I've ever made in my life. Why? Because music literally changed my life. It took me to so many places. that I never thought possible, that I never thought I would ever be if I would have, not done music or not played football or grew up in a different side of town. I don't know what I would do without my parents. I would be very, very lost because they guided me in the right way. They sheltered me from this neighborhood. Here's Luis, neighborhood, sheltered around by my parents. And at first I thought, hey, that is so lame. That is so lame. My friends go hang out with their friends. They go hang out with other people and they have fun. Why can't I do that? Why can't I go to my neighbor's house? Why can't I go across the street? But what I didn't know at the time was across the street was a drug dealer. Right next to me was a drug lord. So what was imagine if I would have known there, what kind of damage would it have done to my life? And what kind of image would it have put in my head, and what kind of example would I had seen when I was that young, hanging out with those kind of people? Now it's all over the place. Guys, where I grew up is a small town. There was one high school at the time, two high schools, which is the one I graduated from, and they all kind of dispersed. At the high school, the community where I grew up, or the neighborhood where I grew up, people knew as the party town, the drug town, the crime town, and it's still known that way, but not as much, guys. It was, hey man, you live there? Dang, dude, you know this guy? He sells drugs. Or, hey man, you live there? You know that guy? Yeah, he was just in jail. He just got out. And it's, some of that stuff now I see and I'm like, dude, I was literally 5 minutes away from danger. I was literally right across the street from what could have been one of the biggest drug busts in Arizona. You know what I mean? And some of that damage did hit my family. In 2008, my family, my home was broken into and robbed at gunpoint due to some different scenarios that were going on around the neighborhood, and unfortunately that was one of the hardest times that I've ever had in my life. 14 years old, I remember just laying in bed. We had bunk beds, Zeke and I. Zeke was at the top, I was at the bottom, and all I remember from that night is people screaming, the door slamming open, and I wake up to this guy pulling me off of the bed onto the ground, telling me to go in a different room. Now at the time I was very disoriented. I didn't know what I was doing. I had just woken up. But as I came conscious and I came back to who I was and where I was at, I said, whoa, what is happening? What is going on right now? So as I'm turning the corner, I see my mom on the ground by the door with a gun pointed to the back of her head. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever seen in my life. Guys, it's been 10 years and I still, to this day, remember that day like it was yesterday. That is never going to erase from my mind. It is never going to go away. It's forever engraved in my brain. And all this, guys, all this had to do with drugs. It had to do with money and people that, didn't want to work for their money. They just wanted it easy like this. Now, maybe they needed it more than we did. Maybe they were struggling some way or doing something that drastic measures to make ends meet or something like that. But violence and rob and scaring people, that wasn't the case. That's not the right way to go. For me, they could have taken everything. I don't care. As long as my family was okay, that was fine with me. But the biggest thing they robbed from us was just that sense of being home and the sense of being safe. I remember coming back and to the house and everything was flipped upside down and, everything was gone. And I remember telling my dad, Zeke and I are never going to be able to play outside anymore or hang out. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, well, why did this happen? At the time, again, I was very, very young. I was very, very little. I didn't know what was going on or what had just happened. But now as I'm getting older, I understand why it happened, how it happened, and the reasoning behind it and the people involved in it. And it's just tough. And for me, that's just, it replays my mind every single day. And I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. I wouldn't wish that upon my biggest enemy. I don't want that life for Ayden. I don't want him to go through that, what I went through at 14, 13 years old, because that was the toughest time that I ever went through, really honestly. Like mentally, it was just a big shot in the back and was it, you know? But that's why I'm making this video, to inspire you guys, not to inspire, but to motivate you guys and let you guys know you are a product of what you make yourself to be. You know, growing up in a rough neighborhood, it's very easy to join the crowd and do what they're doing, but it's also easy to do your own thing and follow your own path to success. It'll be tough at times. People will say, oh, you're a loser. People say, oh, you're so lame, or why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you going to this party? Why aren't you hanging out with this person? You don't want that for yourself. You want to be who you want to be, to set yourself up for success in the future, not to set yourself up for making easy money at the time. You are a product of what you want to be. You are a product of what you create yourself to be. So if you want to be a doctor, be a doctor. You want to be a nurse, be a nurse. You want to be a teacher, be a teacher. Be what you want to be. Change the aspect of you are a product of your environment. You grew up in the roughest neighborhood of town and you become one of the most successful doctors, trust me, you will feel better than stealing from people. You'll feel better than doing drugs or committing a crime. You can repay your family back by becoming something that you want it to be and something successful. Coming down from the lowest and coming to the highest. You can do that. You were a product of what you create yourself to be. Now I wanted to make this video not just because it was kind of playing in the back of my mind, but just because I've met a few people in the past couple days that I can't disclose their name or where I met them or who they are, but for them it's like all they know is drugs, all they know is crime, all they know is doing bad things. And in my mind, my sole goal in life, my sole goal for the next couple of years or however long I'm gonna work with these people is that to change their aspect on life and change their aspect of I'm a product of my environment. All I know is drugs. All I know is doing, oh God knows what. I want to change their life and say, hey, you guys can be whoever you want to be. You guys can be what you create yourself to be. And that's it. So guys, thank you for watching. I was kind of like a vent to you guys. That was kind of like let me get this off my chest real quick because it's just kind of burning me up inside. But it's a little bit different video. It's a little bit more on the serious side. I know some of my vlogs are kind of like just shopping and stuff like that. But I wanted to get to you guys and let you know what was going on and me just rant to you guys because you guys are my family. Although I can't see the 774 of you, thank you very much. Yeah, guys, 774 subscribers, but I can't see the 700 of you guys in there. I could talk to you guys through this little lens, and you guys see me, and you guys talk to me. So I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know what you think of these little videos that I'm making because I kind of want to create just a playlist of just stuff that I kind of run a rant on that'll maybe help motivate somebody else. Let me know what you think of it. Maybe you guys like it, maybe you guys hate it. Let me know. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying part of the family, staying part of the squad. You guys are the best. Have a good Monday. Have a happy week. Start off strong. Do what you want to do. Get motivated. Let's get it started. Let's go to the top together. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.